In the last 3 months, President William Ruto has been making headlines not only in Africa but outside African continent for the various issues that he has been raising, for the various issues that affects Africans that he has been putting out there in the world. And he has come out as one leader who supports the spirit of Pan Africanism. He comes out as one leader who can push for the interest of the African people. President William Ruto has gained popularity, has gained praise from across parts of this country. There are some people who feel like President William Ruto is walking the footsteps of Gaddafi, is walking the footsteps of Kwame Nkrumah, Patrice Lumumba, Thomas Sankara, Nelson Mandela, because of his moves to support and to champion for the interest of the African people and to challenge the European establishments that have been benefiting African prosperity for years. When William Ruto was in France, he challenged the IMF and the World Bank and the French President Emmanuel Macron on the issue of loans. President William Ruto is asking why is it that African countries have been getting loans from IMF and World Bank 8 times expensive compared to developed countries. William Ruto is saying this thing must come to an end. And by saying so, William Ruto is coming out as one African head of state who is bold enough to challenge these, colonial establishments that has been a pain on the skin of Africans. This is not the first time William Ruto is making headlines. When he was in South Africa, William Ruto made headlines when he asked the African head of state and the South African parliament. He challenged African head of state not to allow themselves, to be taken like children of a lesser God. And William Ruto is asking, why is it that African head of states, when they go for these international summits, when they go for international forums, they are locked in buses like school-going children, while their counterparts from the developed countries are given their private cars, their security details, their convoys, everything that shows their head of states. But African head of states are locked in a bus. William Ruto is saying that should not happen again. By saying so, he made headlines also. William Ruto equally made headlines when he challenged African head of states to abandon using the dollar and to start using African local currencies when trading, when doing business within African continent. President Ruto is saying that the only way African currencies can gain strength is by ensuring that we do business with our local currencies when we are trading within ourselves. Therefore, William Ruto has come out as one courageous leader who can challenge the European establishment, the colonial establishment, the colonial systems that have been a problem to the prosperity of the African continent. William Ruto is the only president in Africa who has said that Kenya will be using local currencies when buying oil in these Arab countries. He is saying he will not be using dollar, when buying oil in this developed country. In fact, when William Ruto said so, he made headlines, far and wide. I saw one newspaper in America discussing that particular move, and they were asking, what is it that this man knows that we don't know? Therefore, William Ruto has come out as one progressive leader, and I've seen guys saying that, William Ruto is walking the footsteps of Gaddafi. They think this is a Gaddafi reincarnate. But I have this to say, it is too early to compare President William Ruto with Gaddafi. Gaddafi was in power for 40 years. William Ruto is barely 1 year in office. Gaddafi was a bit bold, was a bit radical in his push for anti-imperialism, his push for to challenge the imperialist, the Western imperialism. Gaddafi was a bit radical and came to pushing for the unity of the African, because Gaddafi proposed to African countries to unite to form one federal state. He said that Africa need to adopt one currency. Gaddafi also came up with the issue of saying that the African countries should have one military unit. So Gaddafi was a bit radical. Gaddafi was a bit, progressive in terms of his Pan-Africanism agenda. I'm not disputing what President William Ruto is saying, because that is why I'm saying it is too early to compare the two. What I know is that William Ruto has time to prove himself, whether he will walk in the footsteps of Gaddafi, whether he will take the part of, whether he will adopt the structures or the lanes, that were taken by Nelson Mandela or Thomas Sankara. Therefore, but guys are really comparing him with Gaddafi, but I don't think it is too early to know whether what William Ruto will come in future in terms of his Pan-Africanism agenda. Also, when you look at Gaddafi and William Ruto, you'll see that Gaddafi was accused of funding terrorism. Gaddafi was accused of human rights violation, which William Ruto is not doing. Gaddafi, when he was when he was president in Libya, he is praised for his developmental agendas. When Gaddafi was in power, he made sure that the literacy level in Libya improved from 30% to 90%. In terms of roads connection, it was excellent. In terms of universal healthcare, Gaddafi made it a reality. Gaddafi ensured that all Libyans have good, decent, affordable houses. Therefore, you could see, in terms of helping the Libyans, Gaddafi did much more than any other leader in the 20th century. Therefore, I think with that, you can see there are some differences between William Ruto and Gaddafi. That is why I am saying it's too early to compare the two. But what I know, William Ruto is coming out as one bold leader. He has gained popularities. He's getting praise because he seems as a man who is rejuvenating, who is reviving the spirits of Pan-Africanism, the spirit of Africa prosperity, the spirit of Africans working together and challenging the colonial imperialism, challenging the colonial systems that have been a problem to African prosperity. Therefore, that is what has been happening. If it's your first time to watch this channel, remember to hit the subscription button, remember to hit the notification button, so that when we produce a video of this nature, YouTube will automatically notify you.